Hello, so we're on part two. I'm talking about the five elements. And what I think is really, really important is you understand actually yin and yang. So let's just take a moment out and understand yin and yang. Now, I'm referring to the Neijing of the Yellow Emperor, yeah? And he's kind of like really the top god. Um, in Chinese, I don't know if there's a top god. I don't know how much for pecking order there is, but he's certainly really up there. And again, that's part of the whole thing about like people can become gods, which is a whole great other topic. And so Huangdi talks about yang is function and yin is nutritive. Yeah. So if you like, say the heart is a yang organ, it's like it pumps, and the blood vessels are yin because they're nutritive. Yeah, they're giving nutrition. Yeah, they're feeding. So if you think about that cycle I was talking about, that creative cycle, essentially you've got, say, the wood, the yang of the wood is this growing part, and then it has this transformation to be nutritive, and it's then feeding, yeah, into fire. So it transforms into fire, and the fire sort of burns and so on. So that's the yang, is the fire giving out heat and so on. Whereas fire then transforms, yeah, further into earth. So it's feeding earth, yeah, so it's nutritive towards earth. And it's that transformation within that element of fire that continues. And the same can be said in a way that when one is controlling it, it's a nutritive, but in a like a hormone which slows down a process, yeah, or calms you down, yeah. So it's a little bit like that. So, and then I wanted to say, like, you've got the controlling cycle, but of course the controlling and the creative cycle also, they, if you like, they have work associated with them. So although, say, a mother calming the kid down is controlling it, it also tires the mum out a bit, yeah. And although, like, making a mum making a cake is nutritive and it's, you know, it supports everybody, it's also tiring mum out. So I don't know, I'm picking mums, it could be dads, yeah. But so the idea of nutritive, yeah, or like feeding something else or feeding into something else is a little bit tiring. So that's important to be aware of. And then the other thing is friends. So fire is friends of fire, yeah, and water is friends with water. Like, there's more, but obviously, like, you can have too much of a good thing. So that's the important thing to be aware of with the five elements. And then that brings us really nicely onto what are called the 10 heavenly stems. Yeah, so if you think about the five elements, actually you've got to think about them in a like two ways. So you've got the function and the nutritive part. So that's, and I'm taking that from the Huangdi's Neijing. So I realize that's not coming from a book about BaZi, but never mind. Yeah, I think it's still valid. So you've got say you've got you've got yang wood and you've got yin wood. Yeah, you've got yang fire and you've got yin fire. You've got yang earth and yin earth, and so on. Yeah, so each of them has if you like, an extra cycle. So yang wood then becomes yin wood, and then that can become yang fire, that becomes yin fire, and so on. So it now is starting to get really interesting, and you can say, wow, so to really understand the 5 elements, you need to understand that the 5 elements each has 2 aspects. And yeah, what I want to do is look at them individually. And the first one you need to look at, I think, is Jia wood, which is yang wood. So I'm going to put a picture up here. I think it's there or there. I'm putting a picture up somewhere of what Jia wood, and I'm using my oracle cards because Jia wood is, you've got this picture of this field, yeah, and then there's something coming down from it. And I'm always, I'm not saying I'm a conspiracy theorist at all, but you've got the field is Tian, which is similar to the Chinese word for heaven, and then something coming down from heaven. And Jia wood is literally, it's the beginning, it's like the beginning of spring. It's this funk, this spark of life, yeah, for me. It's kind of like an amazing thing. And you might say that the Chinese thought, oh, that comes from heaven. And I'll put a little, like a nod. I'll pick that nod to heaven in the character. But that's just my creative interpretation. It also reminds me that like the spark of life is quite heavenly, quite divine. Okay, then you've got E. So I'm not sure I've got these tones right. I'm really sorry, but the character's up there, and E is interesting because you've got this shape, which is for me it's an expression. It looks like a 2, but it's this expression of going left, going right, going left, and then actually going back. So it seems to be like this. From this spark, it's like the roots are starting to go in all directions. So the shoot is starting to come up out of the ground. Yeah, the roots now there. It's like if you like, if Jia is the fertilized cell, then E is starting to divide, and it's developing, and of course. All of these stems and what they mean, there's a lot more to it. Yeah, I do understand. I want to explain everything all at once, but there is really a lot to it. So E for me is a bit like this spiral of the DNA. You know, you've got the left and the right, and these 2 polarities. So if Jia is 1, which it is in the numerologically speaking, 2 is this polarity, and the polarities start playing with each other. So you get this center, and then that center is that, of course, causes a spark, yeah? And the spark of life is our third, yang fire. And yang fire is bing is like, well, you've got this line at the top, and then you've got this split, which you could say is Ren, a person. But it also looks like a mountain, or like there's something, and it's like, it looks like, okay, to me, I'll cut to the chase. It looks like lightning coming down. And so I look at Bing as kind of a little bit like the polarities of E, suddenly like just cracking and lightning coming down. And you have to have lightning, you have to have plus and minus. So that's why I see E is 3, and you could say like it's the spark. Again, it's like the spark of life. So very much I find with Yang, the Yang elements, there's this spark of life, which is just really amazing. And then from there you've got Ding, yeah? So what happens with the spark of life is it needs to spread out. So it's spreading, but it's the idea of, because it's yin, it's spreading, but it's going like in. So if you imagine, let's try and, I imagine like a fire on the surface that's just sparked up and nothing's actually burnt. That's first moment. But when it starts to be feeding, sort of, if you like, it's okay. In this case, it's getting nutrition from the wood. It's eating into the wood, so it's going deeper into the wood. And the symbol for ding, it's a nail. Yeah. So you've got this idea of like going deep, which is not dissimilar to this lightning idea, yeah, of Bing, and then like going deep and branching out. And my image again there is like, can you imagine the when lightning hits a beach and glass is created on the ground? So that's my image, is you've got the lightning coming down from heaven, which is Bing, and then ding is these nails in the ground that are fixed, that are strong. Whereas you don't have that feeling with the Bing. So the Bing is often represented as the sun, illuminating, spreading out. It's really sort of, you know how you can sit in the sun, it sort of reaches you. Ding is something that's going, ding is like the picture that I have in the cards is of a candle. So it's something you can illuminate, you can take somewhere else and you can illuminate the house. It's a smaller kind of fire. It's a candle you can sit and read by a candle, or you can, nowadays there has to be a power cut before you need a candle. But there's this warmth, and in a way there's this wonderful light of the candle, which is, I think we can all say, is yellow. And yellow is the color of earth in Chinese. So it's really interesting, because earth is probably, I sort of feel earth is the most important one. Yeah. It's got a very central location in the BaZi. Yeah. So earth is really, really interesting. Why? Because the character for earth is Wu, and Wu means nothing. It also is the representation for horse, and I'm not using the correct pronunciation, but it's a similar word. And if we say that's good enough, you can accept my explanation. And then you've got, it's actually an axe. And for me, the axe is, as somebody pointed out to me, is the emperor would have an axe, yeah, as a symbolic axe. And of course, Pangu made earth by cutting the egg open, and that's how heaven and earth appeared. So I'm going to stop here because I'm running out of time, and I'll catch you on the other side in part 3, and we'll look at the other part of earth. Yes.